Thank you for joining us, Conor. We're at your training camp in Mallorca. What are the vibes like so far?
Yeah, I mean, it's beautiful. Obviously, not so much because of the surroundings, although the sun's shining today. It's beautiful to be, taken to, a place where me and my team can fully focus, as well as my family, on the goal.
So, when I think of Mallorca, and I think others around the world watching you will as well, they'll think of potentially distractions in terms of the warm weather, the sunshine, the beaches. How do you keep yourself focused despite all of that?
Yeah, listen, I've lived a life of luxury. It's ain't nothing new to me. As it happens, this is where I grew up. I was raised here in Mallorca, lived here for 12 years. But for me, it's not what's around you, it's what's in you. And for me, I'm, motivated. I've got a ton of ambition, fueled by fire, fueled by the chip on my shoulder to go out there and achieve everything I want to achieve in the sport of boxing. For me, it is really just a matter of removing myself from my familiarities and my comfort zone, which is my family, which is my son running in my room in the morning, giving me a cuddle to wake me up, which is hearing my daughter, holding my daughter, which is being at home with my family, being in my own home, taking myself away from those comforts that life brings you and really getting down to the nitty-gritty. Don't be fooled by the sunshine and the beaches. As far as I'm concerned, the beaches are horrific runs. When I'm on the beach, my heart rate's in red zone. So it's very different to somebody else's Mallorcan holiday type beach. I'm sitting there doing my runs, my heart rate's in the red zone. So for me, it's, as I said, getting up at 5 in the morning, killing training. Yes, does it make training easier? Yes, but it allows me to push my body harder. It allows me to just, fully focus and be able to get up at 5 in the morning, do the runs without getting ill. It's easy for me to, just really get up and attack the day.
You seem like a real family man from what we see on social media and other interviews and stuff. You're with your dad a lot. What involvement does Nigel have in your day-to-day in training camps?
Oh, my dad's my life, man. I look at him and he's just a reminder of who I am. I look at my dad and he don't do much. Like, he'll drop the hidden gems in here and there, but he don't really. He's more there for me to just remind me of what bloodline I come from. And those Benn genes, who I am as a man. That's what my dad reminds me of. Every single day I look at him and I go, yeah, I'm your son. And it's a constant reminder to uphold the family name and carry that Benn name and put it back on top where it belongs.
Has that sort of drive changed? I mean, at least from the first scheduled fight, you've had a daughter now as well. In terms of, I think, at least coming into the first scheduled fight, it was about upholding your dad's name. But then also, is there a different sort of drive creeping up more, even surpassing it now, where you're trying to provide that role model image for your kids as well?
For me, it's funny because my dad from... I'm just trying to watch my dad climb over a fence. He don't really do much, but the things he does do makes me laugh. No, for me, it's just a matter of being the best dad to my kids I can be. Make sure I give my kids the best head start I can in life. My little daughter, Dee, she's completely changed me. My son, I'll raise him the same way my dad raised me, which is strong, which is firm, which is you go and get it yourself, which is you're on your own in this world. When I'm not here, you're on your own. You got to defend for yourself. And for me, it's just raising my son that way. But for me, it's more about being a good dad than being anything else in the sport. I never really cared about what my dad achieved in the sport of boxing. It was just how he was as a dad to me. Because you can have it all and be a terrible dad, or you can have nothing and be the greatest dad. All kids want is their parents to be parents. So as far as career, I want to look back and go, I've done everything I can. As a matter of fact, it's very selfish that I box because I don't need to. It's selfish because I love it, because I love fighting. I love winning,
So do you find it quite difficult then in terms of juggling your career, particularly during training camp, with your family time? Is there an effort from your side even more to try and balance that properly during that time?
Do you know what, for me, what it was I left my family when I was 19 to pursue my dream of boxing. And it was hard, it was really challenging at the time. And it was sort of hard watching your little sister and your little brother grow up. Even going back now, my little brother doesn't really know me as a brother. I left when he was maybe 4 years old. You know, so it has to be worth it. It has to pay off. There is no choice. That's why I work as hard as I do, because have I wasted that much time with my family? Have I come here to fail?
So let's pivot a bit in terms of like the general training now. How are you finding, you know, you've been on the track this morning, how are you finding your cardio, your sprints? Are you feeling in the best shape of your life heading into this fight so far?
I'm always in good shape. You know, you'll never watch any of my fights and go, oh, you know, he looks tired, or never. None of my fights throughout my whole career, not one. You know, my last 2 fights, because people, you know, used to me knocking people out, they don't want to give you the credit. You deserve for going 10 and going 12 and making it look easy. But my heart rate didn't even go in the yellow zone through them fights. You know, so I think people need to acknowledge the fact that I don't need to bang you out to win. You know, I'll give you a good hiding for 10, I'll give you a good hiding for 12. You know, not that I plan on this going past 4 rounds, but the reality is I can do it all. I don't just rely on my power. You know, I systematically break you down. And, you know, although I feel in great condition, I feel like I'm flying, I'm always in great condition. I'm loving the challenge of fighting at 160. I'm thriving off, you know, the unknowns in stepping up 2 weight divisions. I'm excited, it excites me.
So in terms of training from that normal sort of 147 you're used to training at versus 160, was there an initial jump that you struggled with, or did you find it a bit of a seamless transition? What sort of things do you have about that?
Not really noticed it, to be honest. You know, I just focus on doing the training. I have a full-time chef that prepares all my meals, who works with my you know, S&C coach, who's the head of like the performance circle, and he they're on comms daily about it. So for me, it's just doing what I've got to do, man. Just focus on the training. Everything else is taken care of.
So with the physical side, you've also got to balance out the mental preparation as well. Now, from the first fight being scheduled until now, let's say I'm in awe of your story in terms of the way that you've come back from that point after that fight was cancelled. What has been in your regimen this time around in terms of getting you mentally prepared for this fight?
Joe, I didn't even know if I wanted to fight again. You know, that's the harsh reality, is I didn't want to fight. It's a mad way to think that's how I felt at the time. Was, you know, I had no interest in boxing no more. I was like, my heart got painted black and I was just done with the sport. The last 2 fights were fights that I had to, I didn't even want to fight, man. You know, I didn't want to, I was just tired. Training was hard. I weren't really, I wasn't me. How can you be you? How can you be you after going through what you went through without dealing with it, without knowing how to cope or how to deal with it? You know, I'm training, I didn't even want to train. That's why when I say to people, I show more discipline, I show more work ethic, more ambition, more integrity than anyone would have in that stage of their career. Going through that sort of adversity and still managing to turn up at the gym. You think I wanted to train? I didn't want to train at all. I couldn't even stand the sight of the gym. I couldn't even stand the idea of the gym. It was just a matter of getting to the gym. And you got me, I'm driving to the gym crying. I'm struggling. Just get to the gym. Just walk in the gym. Just take that step. You know, it's when people say, oh, you know, I can't be bothered training. Those are the only sessions that count. Those are the only sessions that are valid in this game, are the ones you don't want to do. Otherwise, it's easy. You know, so for me, training then and training through that and preparing for them fights, didn't really want to fight, weren't really bothered about fighting. I beat him on any given day. Still made 10 and 12 rounds look easy. First time I've done 12 rounds in my career. Still turned up, was still professional, still made the weight, still got to the gym, still done the sparring, still done the skipping, still done my neck and ab work, still done my runs. You know, so it doesn't matter about what you want to do, it's a matter of just doing what you need to do to get the W. You know, so people are banking on me in my last 2 fights, you know, over me being back. And I feel back. I feel me. I feel like Conor.
So you've got the same hunger, if not maybe even more so now?
Yeah, definitely more. Definitely more.
And about the aggression as well, you still got that same aggression that you had?
I'm always aggy when it comes to boxing. I got a chip on my shoulder, I always do, and if that's what gets me going, that's what gets me going. If you say I can't do something, that ain't leaving. Watch. There's a lot of people who doubted me, still a lot of people who do, you know, and you fuel me. So big thank you to you. Big thank you to everybody who doubted me throughout my whole career. Said I wouldn't get to this stage. You know, early on in my career, you think I'd be headlining Tottenham Stadium. If I'd listened to any of you lot, I wouldn't be where I am. If I'd let you beat me, I wouldn't be where I am. If I'd let you break my heart and tell me I'm not good enough, tell me I can't make it, tell me I'll never be as good as my dad, tell me I'll never do this, I wouldn't be where I am now. So anybody who says you can't do something, for them it's impossible because they're small-minded. That's why I am where I am. You know, so if that's what gets me going, that's got me going now. I just want to get up and start shadowboxing. That's what gets me going. And if that's the fuel, then let that be the fuel. Use it. And I will use it. Same way everyone's doubting me for this fight. What happened last time people doubted Ben? What happened?
In terms of, you know, we're talking about fight night. It's less than a month away. As you say, Tottenham Stadium, 60,000 fans. It's your first time headlining a stadium show. How are you feeling about that? Do you think, for example, obviously your opponent Chris, he's got that sort of world title experience, that big stadium experience. Do you think that gives him a bit of an edge, or are you mentally prepared for that?
There is nothing more scary than a 19-year-old of age, 20 amateur fights, not fought for a year, who was raised in Sydney, had come to the UK and fought co-main event on Anthony Joshua built a sold-out O2 Arena. There is nothing more scary than that. Promise you now. I'm like, well, I'm here now. There's no point, I'm here now. I've just got to ride, right, see it through. There's nothing more scary than that. What's this now? I'm well prepared. It's taken me 10 years to get to where I am now. You think that's any comparison? You know, I was scared on my debut. I was definitely scared, but I weren't ready. I was not ready for that sort of exposure, ready for that sort of limelight. I weren't ready for it. Whereas now, you're telling me now, whether it's a stadium or whether it's the O2 Arena, whether it's York Hall, you know, we're still in the ring. Once you're in the ring, you're good. Nothing matters. Everything's, it could be Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck sitting ringside.
So lastly, in terms of, let's talk about the fight itself. What is your game plan heading into fight night?
My game plan is to go in there, hot skip, right hand to the temple and a left hook to the body. Good night, Chris.
Live on DAZN Worldwide, April 26th, Eubank Jr. versus Ben. Buy now at DAZN.com/boxing.